Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture is titled Starry Night 2. So what do we see here? Well, here we see a recreation of the Starry Night painting by Vincent Van Gogh and put together to match the picture. And we do see an inset picture of the original painting as well. And in the background, we can see the various things in the sky, as well as the same type of tree off to the side there. Now, planned to match that, we have the very young moon in the upper right-hand side. That is a 3-day-old moon. The age of the moon is measured in days since the new moon. So this would be 3 days after the new moon that this picture was taken. And we can see that it's a very thin crescent there in this image taken in the southern hemisphere in Brazil. And we see that matches roughly with the image of the moon within the original Starry Night painting up in the same corner there. And then there are various other objects that are visible here. The relatively bright star kind of ties into the planet Venus here. So we see Venus labeled off just to the right of the tree in the foreground, and that kind of ties into the bright star-like object seen in Van Gogh's painting just to the right of the tree in the painting. We also see several stars there, the Pleiades star cluster, visible between the moon and Venus, and then the planet Uranus up towards the very top of the image, Uranus being very hard to see with the unaided eye, right at the edge of naked eye visibility, and would be easier to see in an exposure like this, where you can take a slightly longer exposure to bring out more detail. Now, this is considered to be very close to or around the anniversary of the morning that Van Gogh would have painted this back in 1889 when the original Starry Night was painted. The big difference is that the image here is actually an image in the evening versus the morning for the Van Gogh painting. And we can kind of tell that, the difference being that this was taken in Brazil in the southern hemisphere, and therefore things are going to be reversed. So the fact that the moon is illuminated on the left-hand side, for those of us in the northern hemisphere, we would tend to think of that as a very old moon approaching the new moon phase again, whereas in the southern hemisphere, that would be a very young moon. And that then matches the image that we see. So while Starry Night was painted that morning, here the photograph taken in the evening showing Venus as the evening star as it is when this image was taken last month, and the very young moon just a few days old, just a few days past noon. But in a way, a modern recreation of Vincent Van Gogh's Starry Night painting. So that was our picture of the day, titled Starry Night 2. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture. So until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.